Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Inshallah, we will begin maybe another 30 seconds. We have changed our time to 5, so we're just going to have our brothers and sisters take another 30 seconds before we, inshallah, begin. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem, amma ba'd. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Brothers and sisters, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our gathering here. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the blessings of this month of Ramadan. May He fill our lives with mercy and rahmah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the full blessings of this beautiful day of Jum'ah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this day a means of khair and barakah for each and every one of us, inshallah. Brothers and sisters, the day of Jum'ah is a very special day every time that it comes upon us, as Rasulullah said, Sayyidul Ayami, Sayyidul Yawmul Jum'ah. The chief of all the days is the day of Jum'ah. But imagine it being a month of Ramadan and then having a Jum'ah. It's also a tremendous bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So try your best to send as much salawats and blessings on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam during the course of the day. Make sure you can engage yourself in dua at certain times. We may not be in the masjid for our khutbah, for our salah and other things, but we can utilize moments to make dua. It's very, very important. There's a very beautiful hadith. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned that there are moments and times where a person asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for whatever they need, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts their prayers. That's the day of Jummah. So make sure that inshallah we can do this. So let's come towards our series. So alhamdulillah, for the past 8 days, alhamdulillah, we have been sharing a particular series known as the Counsel of Pious, where I try to reflect over the words of our pious and share with us as a means of inspiration, as a means of something that we can really take back. And most of the counsels that I've shared with you are in sets of 3. And that is something very similar to what I want to share with you tonight. So the narration goes as such that it has been narrated that a man from amongst the people of Bani Israel, and there's a lot of narration for the people of Bani Israel narrated through the traditions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As we have been told previously, and we know that Musa alayhi salam is a prophet that is mentioned in 28 of the 30 juz of the Quran. So except for the 2 siparas or the 2 juz, all of the Quran talks about Musa alayhi salam very frequently. And when we talk about Musa alayhi salam, we also talk about his nation, his people, Bani Israel, and their traits. So through prophetic traditions, subhanAllah, they have also been mentioned. The Prophet ﷺ have also mentioned many narrations related to the people of Bani Israel as well. So it has been narrated that a man from the people from Bani Israel went to seek knowledge. And of course, knowledge is a very huge thing, and it's a huge bounty from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when this individual planned to go and seek knowledge, their prophet, meaning the prophet of that time, came to hear that there's an individual so and so who is going to seek knowledge. So that prophet called upon this man, this person who was going to seek knowledge, and at this moment he told him, "Oh young man, I will tell you 3 things in which lies the knowledge of all those that have come before you and those who will come after you." Meaning that's a huge advice, right? So when the Prophet of that time knew that there was this young person who was in need and desire, shauq, for learning ilm, for learning knowledge, he said, "Oh my son, oh young man, I will tell you 3 things. And with these 3 things, it will encompass and it will gather the knowledge of all those who have come before us and those who will come after us." So the young man said, what are those 3 things that you advise me towards? And let me share this with you. And this is something that I want to share with you for today. And this is for myself first and foremost, and then everyone else. So this prophet told this young man that the root of every ilm, every knowledge for that which has come before us and that which will come after us, is to fear Allah in secret and public. To have the consciousness of Allah in your private and your public life, right? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make that a means and reality for me first and foremost, and then all of us brothers and sisters. because we also have to gauge our own selves that what am I and who am I in my public times when there is no one watching me, and how am I when someone else is watching me, right? And imagine that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always there to be watching us at all moments. So the Prophet of the time mentioned to him, "O young man, there are three things in which lies the ulum, the ilm, the knowledge, the depth of knowledge. And if you're able to acquire this, you have gotten all that which has come before you and after you. Number one, fear Allah in public and secret." And brothers and sisters, I mentioned this yesterday and even previously as well, that the word fear does not mean to be afraid, scared. No. Fear means to love someone so much that you can go against them, right? When you love someone to that level that you don't want to do anything against what they want, that's also fear, but you're not scared in what they will physically harm you, but emotional attachment to those individuals. So number one thing is fear Allah in public and private. Number one part of knowledge. Number two, hold your tongue against the people and do not speak except for that which is good. Hold your tongue, against people. Ya Rab, Ya Kareem, Ajib. Hold your tongue regarding people and do not speak of them except in goodness. Don't hold your tongue against people and don't say anything except for goodness of others. It is mentioned in the narrations of Luqman the wise that when Luqman was asked that, "Oh Luqman, you were a servant and a shepherd and a ghulam for so and so individual. Aren't you that person who used to be a servant and a ghulam for those people?" He said, "Yes, I was that person." He said, "What made you or led you towards Luqman the wise?" And after multiple things that he mentioned, one of the things he said was that I'm careful for the choices of the words that I speak. Ulama had mentioned that our tongue, brothers and sisters, is so precious that Allah has given us these 32 locks to make sure that we secure our tongue. Your one word can destroy your entire relationship. Allahu Akbar. I've seen this. I deal with so much in public where I meet families and individuals and brothers and sisters, both, that few words, wallah, have destroyed their entire lives. Relationships and children and you name it, everything is gone. This is how precious it is to hold our tongue, brothers and sisters. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, the giant in Islam, a person who was the pinnacle, the essence of Sahaba radiallahu anhu ajma'in, he would often hold his tongue and he would say, "Jirmuhu saghir wa jurmuhu kabir." The size of my tongue is small, but the sin of my tongue is huge. Rasulullah ﷺ said, those who are able to control their tongue are able to control everything. Man sakata naja. The one who is able to control the tongue is able to become successful. Rasulullah ﷺ said, the Prophet ﷺ said, every word that you utter from your tongue will be either held for you or against you on the day of Qiyamah. So what is this Prophet telling this young man? You're looking for knowledge, do three things. Have fear of Allah. Have consciousness of Allah in your public and in your private life. Know that Allah is watching you. When the whole world is watching you and when there is no one watching you, have the fear of Allah. Have that same consciousness. Let your days and your nights, let your public and your private life be the same in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number two is hold your tongue against others. Brothers and sisters, it's easy to say whatever you want, do whatever, but it takes strength, inner strength, to hold yourself back and do not speak of others except for good. This is the habit, brothers and sisters, we should create this Ramadan, that we should inculcate this, inshallah, one sifa and quality. Like we should work upon better qualities every day, brothers and sisters, but create this quality that I'm not going to say anything about anyone except for goodness in the lives of others. And last but not least, the third thing he said was, and ensure that the bread that you take is halal. What you earn and what you feed yourself is halal. Allahu Akbar. Because brothers and sisters, with all the ilm and all the information and knowledge that one can gather, if our earning and our consumption is not halal, then where is our dua, brothers and sisters? Sometimes I become afraid and see that there are millions and millions of people crying and shedding tears, and I fear, why is our prayers not being accepted? Is it just because we have stopped caring about what we eat? Have we stopped caring about where we earn from and where we spend from? I remember one of the shuyukh, he called one of his very good friends who was also an alim, a scholar, a very good person with youth and youngsters. So he said to his friend who was a scholar that, can you please speak to my sons? They have been very rude and disobedient and they're not listening to me. Can you speak to my sons? He said, okay, I'll give it a try. So he started speaking to him in a very motivational way. The kids were listening properly, and everything was going towards the right side. And the father, meaning the friend of that scholar, he just started crying right in the middle, and he said, stop, stop, stop. He says, don't say anything anymore. He said, what happened? What's wrong? He says, I have no one else to blame except for myself for their disobedience. He's saying, the father is saying about the children, that I have no one else to blame except for my own self for the disobedience of my children. He said, what happened? He said, I have fed my children earning haram with my own hands. What can I expect from my children to do today except that they will be disobedient to me and Allah? Brothers and sisters, this is a reminder for us that what we consume, what we take, and what we feed ourselves has a huge impact into our lives. The famous hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a morsel of haram which goes inside does not allow our dua to be accepted for days. Amongst the 5 questions that all of us will be questioned on the day of Qiyamah before we are able to move our feet, 2 of them is related to our wealth, of where we earned and where we spent. So, brothers and sisters, 3 things are the basis and bunyad and foundations of ilm in our lives. If we truly want that true ilm and knowledge can come into our lives, this hadith or this narration is telling us 3 things. Number 1, that if you acquire these 3 things, you will have the ulum and knowledge of the people before you and those to come after you. And I'll finish off with this, just repeating this. Fear Allah, have the consciousness of Allah, have the taqwa and the awareness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in public and in private. Number 1, hold your tongue against others, except that you speak of goodness. Hold your tongue against others, except that you speak of goodness. Number 2. And number 3, ensure that the bread, meaning ensure that the food that you partake from and you take is halal and pure. Brothers and sisters, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala today, in this blessed day of Jum'ah, in this Mubarak and blessed month of Ramadan, while we are fasting, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our prayers. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq and ability and strength to live a life where we can have our public and private life in the consciousness and the awareness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to speak which is good. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stop us from being amongst those who do ghiba and slander and gossip. May Allah purify and cleanse ourselves and our hearts and our habits and make them towards goodness and righteousness. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provide us with halal, tayyib, and pure rizq. May Allah protect us and make us away from anything that is haram and not correct for us. May He provide us from His own treasures, from His own infinite mercy, that He protects us from haram and provides us halal. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive our brothers and sisters who have passed away in the state of Iman in this very difficult conditions, and may Allah give sabr to their family members. Our brothers and sisters who are suffering through difficult times with health conditions, may Allah give them shifa and health. Those who are in ease and in comforts in their homes, may Allah keep them protected, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep them in the best of their conditions. Just quick announcement before I finish, brothers and sisters. As we know, inshallah, tonight we have Sheikh Ibrahim Najam coming live to us from Egypt at 9 p.m. So please make sure you and your family members and all of us, inshallah, can tune in together and participate. We also have these links in our description box on Facebook and also on Zoom. If you can please make sure that you can continuously support the houses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And brothers and sisters, any house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is, masjid is a place of the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah promises to take care of it. But if we become a means of helping and protecting, this is the blessings of Allah. May Allah give us tawfiq and ability to practice. Inshallah, we'll see you tonight at 9 p.m. and tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. for the councils of pious. May Allah give us tawfiq. Kimi and the entire ummah in your dua. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.